Last time on The Empire's Edge.
I think we should figure out some way to limit their capacity to maneuver. Them whipping with those tails was devastating.
You guys keep on talking about, like, getting this trench. How are we going to get it into the trench? Why are you looking at me? Ooh, look at me. I'm so delicious. And I'm just running
I'm covered
through
in
the trench.
bacon.
This was a personal choice, though.
You can actually see it moving toward that area.
So wait a minute. So does that mean that it's spotted you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
It saw me! And screaming and just running. Handcuffing!
I'm casting spike growth on it.
Okay, now do I get a save? What do I get for
You get
it?
jacked.
This thing's coming on. It's coming on hard.
Natural 20.
Oh, nice.
What does that mean?
Holy smokes.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's dead.
Good.
It was very scary. It hurt my heart.
Right after sunset, it is now dark. You see that there is a very large set of eyes that are looking in, and there's nothing else near it. There is one of these things close, like half a mile, a little less than a half a mile away.
Yeah, I want to spend the night like underneath that shed. I want to be ready to fight if they call.
You hear cries going up. People are yelling from above there that it's coming, it's coming. One of them are coming near to us. It's coming now. Sir Boris, Sir Boris.
I'm going to produce flame, see if we can see what it is.
That fire hits something in the nose. With that brief illumination right over there, you can see that this thing is big. By a size order of like 3 times the size, it does a quick about face and goes running back off into the dark. But it is not that far away. It's the next morning. I would imagine you guys stayed awake most of the night, or did you reset your watches?
You meant. Sorry.
We were keeping a watch. The
townspeople are.
Oh, right. You're exactly right. So you
Mine's
did
a
not need
citizen. It
to.
sets itself. That's,
I know, right?
That's where I thought we were.
No, I use my
It's
iPhone.
quartz. It does it automatically.
It's a sundial. I can't reset it. Space resets it.
So before you guys knock off for the night,
Benny is, though, I can make it anytime I want just by turning.
there you go. Jacob waves his arrow a little bit and takes the flame back out.
I take the burning arrow I left outside and just shove it in the dirt.
It's burned down a little bit. He taps the ash out, tries to smoke it. Doesn't work.
I do realize in this moment that it might be a really good idea that while we're in town, I'll grab a few more of those things and prep some arrows that can be lit on fire if we're going to be attacking one of these, because that fire seemed to just immediately about face. It does not like fire, so
Yeah, that's a good
maybe
idea.
that'll come in handy later.
That's a great idea. Tallow would be a fairly easy thing to find in this town.
So I'll first thing in the morning here, I'll grab some of that and I'll prep I don't know, 8 arrows with tallow on them.
Sounds great. You could do just that. So you wouldn't have to ask but one person, and they direct you where to get some of that, and just having it for yourself. Then once you have that done, and the word goes around that one of the lizards came by last night, what do you guys want to do this morning with it involving trying to bring it back in?
Well, the trap's prepped.
Do you think it's big enough for this one?
We only had, and it was like 80% done, right?
Well, no, we finished it last night.
We did. Okay.
It was done.
They were done last night. Just like as night was falling. So it's of a sufficient depth. The width is gonna have to stay as is, because the whole point is to make it squeeze through so it doesn't either spin or fight with its usual capacity. So I'd call that done. It's time to go find the thing.
Yeah, eyeballing it, you would all agree that you think, gosh, it'll be kind of a squeeze, but you do think that it could definitely go right through the bottom of this thing.
Okay, well, if we want to give me 10 minutes, I can concentrate and locate animal.
Yeah.
Well, we've got the fresh tracks. Let's use them.
That
It made tracks last night.
Okay, and then if we're going to do it that way, then Jacob, are you ready for Longstrider, a speed spell?
Oh yeah,
Because you are bait.
Because you are the bait.
This time we're actually gonna.
What?
Try and
It's
follow
still my
the-
turn to be bait?
Well, this last time at least, because the Longstrider makes me 10 feet faster per round.
Yeah.
Or per move action, I should
Right.
say. So yeah, no, I like that idea, because that actually would give me the option to run, turn, shoot, run, and then I like
Great.
that. Let's not do it, because how long does it last?
It lasts for 1 hour.
And do you need to concentrate?
All kinds of time.
It is an action. No.
Yeah.
Transmutation action, no concentration.
Okay.
I think just saving us the 15 minutes or so it'll take us to walk to the tree line. I think as soon as we get to the tree, then sprinkle me with
Yeah,
fairy
one-
dust.
I do
Once-
have to.
once you
I do have to
found-
sprinkle you with dirt. So hope you don't mind.
This is fairy dust. This.
Once
is
you
the
found
cleanest-
the trail.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll do that. Go to the
area of the trap.
footprints. Yeah, wherever it appeared in town last night. And
Yeah, roll the survival to pick up that trail and give yourself advantage.
Okay. Am I in my favorite terrain? Or no, we're
Yeah, the
forest. But
woods.
we're
Yeah,
in
at the
Yeah.
forest line.
Yeah.
Am I?
So it'd be a yes. Yes. you
Cool.
are.
24.
Excellent. You
Yay.
easily pick up these tracks. It looks as though to you, once you found them at the edge of the tree line, you can follow them into, and it passes right through some of the fields where things are growing, mash stuff down. It's quite apparent. This thing is just so big. And then it loops back and goes back into the woods again. It comes back out. It goes back in. So you're doing, I'm not sure how far to the woods you would go. I'm guessing not very far. But you can see this thing was moving right along the tree line. And then very decidedly, it came in at kind of an oblique angle to the road, met the road not too far, it looks like, from where you guys were up in that little loft, that shed roof, and then turned about again and looks as though it ran right down the road, the most expedient direction to get back out of the cultivated area. And
Gotcha.
then went back into there. But yeah, it was moving around a lot last night.
And it didn't return to that den area that the smaller one had set up. There was a
That
just
crushed down
Doesn't
area.
look
that we
like
were
it.
sleeping.
No,
So-
if it did, it didn't crush it down any more than that. But it looks like it might have gone to a different spot.
as you two who have been walking through the woods with me for this last extended period of time have probably picked up by now. It's gone a lot further than the last one has.
Well,
I don't
yeah.
know if our prepared plan is going to work if we're going to try and drag it all the way back out to the trench, because we've gone how far from the town now? Because you said it ran off down the road.
But that's still in the direction right past where the trap is,
Oh, good.
into the trees there.
Okay.
So it's all still in the same.
It's
I
relative
assume
area.
it
Luring
ran
it
all the
for
way this way
longer.
and got to the road and just booked it in a cardinal direction away from town.
It did make a little pile of spaghetti in one area,
Perfect.
but it went out to where you guys are and then came back through that same area.
Gotcha. Ignore what I just said because I know what I'm talking about.
I rolled a 24. I know
Well-
exactly what I'm
Well
talking
done,
about.
Ranger.
Oh, south is this way.
So this would be the time to cast that spell, Zelen, if
Yeah.
you're going to.
Are you ready?
Never eat
I'm-
seaweed. Okay, south, down.
Okay, we ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, Lasden speed. And I sprinkle you with dirt.
All right. So you feel really quick.
Nice.
Heading into the woods?
Heading into the woods.
Boris, what are you doing?
Maneuvering back into the trench, into that wing of the D, so he can run past me, and it'll be in the pit.
Excellent. And Zelen, taking
I'm-
up what
I'm-
position?
I'm on the bush side of the trench.
On the hedge side of the
The hedge
trench.
side of the
You're
trench.
kind of pressed in on that side. There's not a lot of room, but there's still plenty of room for you to stand.
Yeah, you're using the
comfortably.
hedges as cover, right?
Right, yeah, exactly.
Can you light a torch on my side so when I come around I can light my arrows against that
Oh, that's a
before
good call.
firing?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Okay, so I'll set up that torch.
Perfect. He says that over his shoulders. He's walking into the tree line.
Yeah, got
Excellent. And then you go out into
Leave the
there.
light on, and I'm just
it. Go, Zippy, go.
So go ahead and give me a survival check.
okay.
And this is in your terrain.
10.
As you're walking in this area, you don't note right away those tracks, that it might have actually skirted the edge of the tree line and not come in the same spot. Roll a different survival check.
Okay. This time looking with my eyes. 15.
In a weird way, this reminds you of ways that you and other people from town, from Grian, from
Grian.
have hunted different animals. Like nighttime, nocturnal, raccoons and opossums, things like that. That they will make a whole messed up area of tracks and then follow some weird tangent that you might not notice, only so they can lay in an ambush. For those animals, it's not to ambush you. For them, it's just to find a means of escape.
Gotcha.
But this thing's obviously a peak predator, so you're very aware as you're moving around and going through its very tangled little spaghetti pattern. It's possible this thing could be laying low and just be 30 feet away and hiding behind a deadfall where a tree ball root has been uprooted, that it isn't somewhere just, hundreds of yards or even miles away, that it could be exceedingly close. It's feeling more and more like a trap.
I'm just picturing this narrow little dead tree with a lizard the size of a school bus just sitting behind it like, I'm hiding.
Object permanent.
see
You can't
me.
see me. Yeah, with that, I guess picking up some small pieces of brush and judging areas on the periphery of this matted down place and just kind of chucking them into the woods to see if making sounds over that way would cause any sort of a shift wherever it might be hiding if it is nearby, and listening for that shift.
Do the listen roll.
So perception then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
12.
perception. Thank you. Yeah, you are very aware of this. When you throw that and it just hits, makes it sound. It didn't scare up squirrels or birds or anything else. There is no other small critter in this area right now.
Okay. Getting my planning out my path for the area close to the, because I'm pretty sure it's nearby.
Yeah, it sounds like a pretty good bet.
Do I feel like I'm being watched?
Yes.
Awesome. So I will plan out my pathway, knowing that the trench is back down this way through the woods in that direction, and I will start making a big old fuss and run in circles, and then start running towards the thing, hopefully getting it to.
Okay, we'll roll
come
it as
out
an
at me.
init. Go ahead and roll that init.
I wish I rolled better. 7.
Do you get an advantage because you're in the woods?
No, not on that one.
Oh.
Unless my initiative is wisdom based.
It sounds like a boulder rolling down a hill. Something large just jumped out from wherever it was, crashing through trees and branches, leaves. As you let's turn yourself and orient in that direction. It does look like, for you, it'd be like, you know what? Look, that cement mixer is coming at me right now. That's the impression, whatever's comparable to you.
Congratulations, you've invented a cement mixer.
Well, luckily
I
for
can
it,
use that somewhere.
luckily for it, I graduated from the Prometheus School of Running Away from Things. And
Internet references.
book it.
Great. Yeah. So with your additional speed, you are able to stay ahead of this thing, and you're both running.
Awesome. How close on my heels is it? Is it pacing me, or is this one even faster than the little one that we were?
It seems about the same
Or
speed
are
as the
you
little
gaining
ones.
distance? Yeah.
Gaining
And,
distance, yeah.
you are slowly pulling away from this thing, but it is looking for shortcuts. You're more aware of it now, like you were suspecting earlier, that as you start to make a turn to get you on track to head toward the trench, that this thing is not just following your track in the same curve, it's trying to cut that corner to get closer to you.
Gotcha.
This thing thinks a little bit differently, apparently, than the young adult ones. But you are staying away from it. You're able to keep up on it, and you're much more maneuverable in that capacity, too. So as you're running, it is still keeping with you, and the trees are just a couple of rounds. The tree line is just a couple of rounds ahead of you as you run for that.
So as I'm getting closer, calling out and screaming that we got company, and I'm just again knees to chest,
Okay,
great
so
form,
all of you
into the
hear
nose, out through the mouth.
him yelling, the running, the commotion, and it sounds like there's like a herd of cattle running through the woods right there, right now.
Do I also gain insights into the mystic powers of the cement mixer?
Right. Like, you know what? I think someone's invented a cement mixer, and it's coming at us right now. And then Jacob bursts through the tree line, and he's moving at a pretty good clip. Boris, I doubt you'd actually see that down there. You
Yeah,
can hear
no,
the
I'm
sound
8
difference.
feet
Zelen.
underground.
You're very aware of it as that comes crashing
Yeah, all
through.
Boris has, he's sitting on the other end of this corner, and I go, ah! And just like went right past him. He's like, oh, Jacob's here.
All right, and you step around and brace.
And then in the next moment, the same way it happened before, you're ready to see that lizard and to actually see it in daylight. How big is this thing? Come bursting through, but then it doesn't. And Jacob, you're still running. You're aware at this point, giving a shot, look over your shoulder, that you're expecting to see it come through the trees right now, and it has not come through the trees at this moment. Do you keep your pace? Do you run into the trench? What do you do?
How much ground do I think that I gained on it at this point?
You're probably a good 40 or 50 feet away from it.
I'll stop and I'll turn and look at it and see. Where
Give
it
a
is.
listen.
Cool.
That is a
Perception, yeah.
perception.
That is a 17.
You can hear there's something. It sounds like it's not like just. Well, it is not running that same way, making that thunderous crash, breaking through everything. It sounds more like about the same volume as a person walking. It's, as noisy as a person, but that is so much less than this that if you weren't listening for that sound, you might not have even noticed it. But something is moving laterally along the tree line.
Clever girl.
Is it aware of the trap?
This one's a lot smarter than the last one. It was heading me off at every turn.
I'm going to get out of the bushes and try to get to the end of the trench.
Which end? The end closer to the tree line, or the end that's at
The end that Jacob would normally be running out of.
Yeah. And where would I gauge the sound be coming from so I can give him a general idea if I still think it's like over here, so that way she's not walking to the
off to your
woods.
left.
Okay, so
the
sharing that with you.
non-hedge side.
Okay, so
of the thing. The three of you, or the two of you, roll in nits again.
Cool.
Boris, you could too if you want to see where you wind up in that. But
Sure.
I think it should be pretty much holding action down inside the trench.
Yeah, I'm lined up at an 18, and my actions will be ready in action to smack thing when it gets near.
Unnatural 20.
Oh, very nice.
I'm at 5.
Was that a natural 5?
No.
Off to your left, Jacob, this thing bursts out again, and it's running straight toward the trench, but it's coming in at about like a 30-degree angle to it, not in line with it. What do you do?
Fire an arrow directly at it.
Does you have a thing to cast?
Oh yeah, bonus action casting Hunter's Mark, marking it as my quarry. Is it below its hit point maximum? Assuming.
Not at the moment.
Okay. That is a 19 to hit.
It knows the mystic power of long rests, too.
You hit it.
Cool. All right, so it is my quarry, extra d6, d8 because bow. 14 points of damage.
Oh, very nice.
And then with my move, running towards the torch that was set up for me and calling out to Boris that it's still heading towards the trench. It's coming at an odd angle.
All right.
Actually, 30's even. It's coming at an
So, yeah, you're aware that up there, that's Boris like, all right, and you're kind of hunkered down ready for it.
Waiting for it to come over the side, I guess.
And then Zelen down at 5. This thing's running. What are you doing, Zelen?
So it's running, heading where? Heading towards the trench? Where is it running? Is it still running towards Jacob?
Heading towards if the trench line is 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock, and it's coming at 12. This thing's running in from about 2 o'clock.
Coming in at 2. Okay.
on the torch side, right?
On the torch side.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to both move and do something?
Yeah, you've got a move
Okay.
action to move and then an action to
So
cast things.
my goal is to move so that I can get an angle that I can do a thunder wave and push it into the end of the trench. I don't want to do a thunder wave at the end that Boris is standing. I want to push the lizard to the far end of the trench because I don't want to bury you.
As it's running toward Jacob and that end of the
I'm
trench,
out in the middle. You're fine. Just get it in the trench. I'll work it out from there.
you are then sweeping counterclockwise.
Right.
Got it. Understood.
Right.
All right, so we'll keep those init orders. And as this thing does just that, it is attacking Jacob, and it's like sliding itself right up to that angle of the trench. Jacob,
Wait a minute. Can't I move and cast?
Yes.
So couldn't I run and then cast thunder wave to
well,
move it?
It's not even at the trench yet as you're doing that.
Oh, so okay. I see. So it's not close enough.
Jacob, what's your armor class?
Scared off with a loud noise. 17? 16.
Wow. And it misses you with its bite. As it does that actually was a pretty horrible miss. It wasn't a critical, but it was a 2 natural. But even with its pluses, it was a pretty bad miss. Let me just see. Make it a dex roll for this thing. As it goes sliding, Boris, from above, dirt comes pushing down into this, not collapsing it, but you can see the edge of its flank, and you can see like one of its legs over, and its tail well out of your range, at the far end of the trench, about where it would enter the deep portion. Its tail's actually crossed over, and it seems to be balancing itself from falling into the trench the way its tail is pushed right there.
Okay. Am I aware of what Zelen's doing?
Unknown. Probably not, because you're down in the trench out of view, but it's Jacob's round.
Gotcha. Is my torch still standing?
Let me check. Yes, the torch is still standing.
Awesome. Cool. It's engaged in melee combat with me, so I guess I'll have to take I'll light my arrow and take my 5-foot step back to
Disengage.
Disengage.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
disengage is
We
an
will
action.
disengage
That's right.
in this game.
Disengage is my move action.
Well, is it a move action or is it an action?
Disengage is an action. And I have disadvantage if I fire into melee combat.
Correct.
I'd rather do that.
All right, go
so
ahead.
I'm going to light my arrow and fire into melee combat with it. First one. Okay, yeah. That was an unnatural 20 to hit.
That it was disadvantage.
With
So
disadvantage.
that was the lower of the rolls.
Yeah, actually 21, and the other one, so it was a 13 and a 19. 21 to hit.
Oh, very nice.
Made the right choice.
Definitely hit.
Gotcha. Does my fire do any additional damage?
It probably does. I'm not sure in 5e what that damage is.
And
so-
I-
Torch does 1 point of additional fire damage. So
Yeah, because I couldn't find a write-up for fire arrows, especially
Right.
because flaming arrows is a spell in 5e.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll do that additional point of damage.
Cool. I will take that. It is below its hit point maximum, correct?
It is.
Nice. I'm rolling 3 dice right now. This feels awesome. All right, 6, 12 plus 4. That's 16 points of damage plus 1 point of fire damage.
Good grief. That's an excellent hit.
I could use some help.
Boris,
Get it in the
down below.
pit.
You can hear the twang of his bow as he's yelling, I could use some help, and you can see this thing partially above right there.
I have no idea how they're going to get it into a pit, or even if they can. So I'm going to try attacking it from below. Then,
I'm pushing it with my arrows. It's not going very far.
Yeah, right.
It didn't push well.
So, casting Wrathful Smite as a bonus action, moving to engage as a move action, and Hitty Thing as an action. All right.
Swing it.
Yeah. Okay. No, I missed.
Yes, you missed. You brandished your weapon marvelously.
Yeah, obviously it moved its tail slightly, and I'm still 8 feet down.
Yeah, so I think it's a dex check for you, isn't it, that you hung onto your weapon?
I don't think critical fails are quite that way anymore. I don't know.
I like that. It's like the kid at the party when he's trying to hit the pinata, but they just like pull the string like right as they were swinging at it.
It's just an automatic miss.
All right, okay, so automatic miss on that one. So yeah, you missed definitely, but you believe you could from down here. It definitely has a lot of hard cover, but you you could definitely have a chance to still to hit it. And then this thing already has Zelen. You're up.
Get out of the way. I'm going to try to push it into the pit, and I'm going to cast Thunderwave.
All right, so read the parameters so I know what kind of a saving throw I need to set up for.
A wave of thunderous force sweeps out from me. Each creature in a 15-foot cube originating must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, a creature takes 2d8 thunder damage and is pushed 10 feet away from me. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage and isn't pushed. In addition, unsecured objects that are completely within the area of effect are automatically pushed 10 feet away away from you by the spell's effect. And it emits a thunderous boom.
Gotcha. What's your spell's DC?
It's been 14, right?
Sorry, David.
Yeah, no, I'm in the middle of this.
Spell DC is 14.
Okay. So, Jacob.
Dang it.
Roll it.
I said get out of the way. Why didn't you get out of the way?
So what do you have?
Well, in my defense, you went, get out of the way. Boom. I got an 7.
Yeah, so failed it, so you're moving. Ooh, and it rolled poorly too. They both with that boom. It's like Boris suddenly thinks, gosh, it sounds like a bulldozer up there.
I've heard what a thunder wave is. She's done it before.
Yeah, but it's the dirt going, and a lot of dirt comes cascading into this thing.
It was threw me 10 feet and buried Boris.
and then this thing comes down. It's coming down into it.
On me
as
or in
is
front of
Jacob
me?
too. I'm going to roll that now. Actually, make that as a dexterity save.
How wide was the trench?
6 feet.
About 6 feet wide.
Can I make a reflex save to try and hold on to the ledge on the other side if I got blown far enough to try and not fall into the pit, but like to climb up on the other end?
That's reasonable. I like that. Yeah, so make that...
do I get any benefit or advantage from having a shield to be able to kind of like push and deflect? Because I suck at dexterity.
I would think probably not. It's a matter of backing up, because if all stuff comes down on top of you, you're still going to collapse.
What's my DC?
Your
Fair.
DC...
17, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say 15. So you back up enough
15.
that as this thing like comes down, wham.
Yeah, I back up the perfect
amount that its head is now right in front of you.
It's like classic
Neat.
Charlie Chaplin where the house falls down and he's like standing in the window right as it hits the
I
ground.
think that was a different guy, but yeah.
I think Chaplin did that too. Yeah. A few guys
Let's not get distracted.
Do you
This
want
is a fight.
athletics or acrobatics or
acrobatics?
Okay. 11.
And what you hit that side, and then you fall down and on top of the lizard.
Tried. All right.
Yeah. So, but you are on top. That saved you enough that you weren't like under it to do just that, as you were knocked over to the side. That was at 5, top of the round.
That's me again.
Yeah, that's actually you.
Okay. Weird. I'm on top of a lizard. I don't have a great handle animal check, so I'm going to
shoot the thing. That's how we handle this.
Yeah.
Aiming straight down.
Aiming at my just to the left of my foot and firing down on it.
If you miss by 1,
and since it is squeezing, he does get advantage. But since he's in melee combat, he gets a disadvantage.
so you're dead even.
Yeah.
Straight. So yeah, it is squeezing. So a creature can squeeze through a space that is large enough for a creature one size smaller than it is. Et cetera, et cetera. While squeezing through a space, so this is the pertinent. A creature must spend one extra foot for every foot it moves,
So it just moves at half
and it
speed.
has disadvantage on attack rolls. Right. and dexterity saving throws. Attack rolls against the creature have advantage while it's in this smaller space. So you have
good to know.
Yeah,
All
so advantage, disadvantage, so you're straight up.
Ooh, that's a 12 to hit.
Still misses. Wow. Oof. Did you miss by 1? No, you actually missed by more than 1.
So instead of almost hitting my foot, I just completely missed my foot and the lizard.
Hits the buckle on your shoe and glances straight upward again.
It's in the wall behind you now.
And then, Boris, you are up.
Yeah, let's try this again. Okay, that's a roll.
Remember, but you're rolling with advantage, correct?
I am, yes. Let's do that then. Yeah, that'll work.
Kind of benevolent DM.
Yeah, right. Unnatural 20.
Excellent. That's definitely a hit.
All right, yeah, and I'm doing the big thing. I'm doing Divine Smite as well. So that's an additional 2d8 radiant. All right, so
Twist it
that's
up.
a d8 physical plus 8 physical plus 2d8 radiant plus a d6 psychic.
God,
Good,
dang it. I
get
feel so
it.
good about rolling
Great.
3 dice, and he's rolling 4.
Hell yeah.
Wait, said the paladin? Hell yeah.
Yeah. Because heavens yeah sounds like I'm just British.
For a second, I thought you rolled a d20
Oh,
little damage
man.
dice, and I was really
Okay, what's
concerned.
your total? What's your total?
Let's see, that's 10, 18, 22, 28.
Good grief.
And if it's still alive, I need it to make I think, wisdom saving throw.
For what reason? And
Wrathful Smite. It needs to make a wisdom saving throw or be frightened of me until the spell ends.
okay.
Your DC is a 13.
It is frightened of you.
Nice.
So with frightened, it has disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls while it can see me, and it can't move closer to me.
Double disadvantage?
I was about to say, yeah. Is there such a thing as double? Do I have to roll 3 dice?
No,
Take the
but
lowest?
saving throws are ability checks, so now all of its saves are at disadvantage.
Anytime
rather than
and not
rolls
just the
in-
dexterity ones,
Correct.
right? All right, got that. And is it just against you that it has that disadvantage?
As long
against
as it
any
can
foe?
see me, it has those disadvantages.
Okay. Well, it makes a point to
Assuming
fight
it
with
survives.
it closes its eyes for the rest of the thing. You can see
All
me.
right,
I'm
then it's
invisible.
fighting blind. And,
All right,
you
so
know, things
it
are
is-
worse.
Almost better, yeah.
Let's see.
Is your speed spell still in effect? Can you get off of it and just run the heck out of the trench?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
you,
probably.
You
Oh,
do
yeah,
have
I
a
didn't,
move
didn't use a
action.
move. Can I just athletics, I guess, to try and jump off of it without hitting the ground too hard?
I guess on your next round.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're already past that. But yeah, and you're not at the bottom of the trench. You're on the top of this
Say,
thing.
how
Out
deep
of the
did we
trench
dig
is
it?
probably just like it's about like
Yeah, you
mid
just
chest
kinda
height for
roll.
you.
Okay, yeah.
You just kind of jump out of this
8
thing
feet
right here.
is how deep we dug it.
Oh, yeah. So when I fell, I was like, ah! And I just like fell 3 inches on top of this thing.
Yeah, you were rolled.
So, given that it would prefer not to attack Boris at this, and it can't even see Zelen.
I don't know if
Yeah,
it's. Does it not want to attack you? Or
No,
just.
it is frightened of me. Can it attack you?
I'm on its back, so it depends.
I can't bite my back. I don't know about you.
Well, this thing does have the capacity to raise itself up and slap itself down, if you recall from before,
Okay.
fighting before. So it's going to try one of its maneuvers that it knows to do. So it's going to do that. And I did roll, not just it's definitely attacking Jacob. I rolled to see if it was attacking
So
one or the
originally I was joking about the handle animal check, but
other. You find yourself not launched up into the air, but definitely thrown back. Go ahead and roll an acrobatics check. And
16.
Despite being thrown, you come down again on this thing's back, standing, kind of crouched and standing, but it reared itself up like the other ones, smaller ones had done, to slam itself back down again, just to try to reorient itself because it was so frightened in that moment of Boris. But it flung itself up and it flung itself back down again, but it couldn't turn itself enough to actually get an attack on
So my
you.
footing is actually better, so I'm still standing better than I ever did.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Rocket Man.
Thank you so much.
All right, and then it is Zelen.
I'm going to throw a dart.
All right, go ahead.
I wanted to kill it.
I wanted to kill it.
Everybody wanted to kill
I
it.
did between your 2 attacks and my 1, we've done about an equal amount of damage.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Natural 20.
I wanted to kill
Nice.
So what does that mean? I get to roll twice or something?
2 dice.
Your damage die twice.
Can I have another D4, please?
The dart only does a D4?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Right.
D4 plus 3.
So 2d4 plus 3.
Yeah, I think she did something like this with the bugbear too.
Yeah. That was max damage.
Max damage. 11 points of damage.
All right, so that did not kill it. It still has
You're
a fair
welcome.
number of hit points, but the way that both Jacob and Boris are hitting it, he might not last as long, or she might not last as long.
This is the mother,
is what I thought. That this has been quite horrendous on it. Jacob, it is your round.
Okay, cool. Making my acrobatics check first to try and
Get out of the
bridge
thing?
that gap out of the thing.
Go ahead on your move.
Dismount the banister.
16.
Yes, you are definitely out and on the ground.
Cool. And now that I'm not firing to melee combat, I want to fire on it.
Yeah.
And it's still
All right.
squeezing,
And
right? So I
Go
get
Gaining
ahead,
advantage,
and you have an
yes.
advantage. Yes.
Okay. Natural 20!
Well done.
Yeah, the other one was a 3, so that was just about the entire spectrum.
Oh, man. Okay, so I get to roll 4 dice now. It feels good.
4 days feel good.
Yeah, right. And 3 of them are D8s. That's magnificent.
That's 10, that's 18, that's 22. 22 points of damage.
That as you fire that arrow, it is right at the base of its skull, kind of like how that thing killed that bear a long time ago. And you don't see it fall; it just relaxes, dead. And nobody took a hit. I'm embarrassed. That was excellent. Well fought.
Well, I tried to hit him with my thunder wave, but
Well, you did. You knocked it into the thing.
I think having not
you
laid
took
eyes...
2d6 from the thunder wave.
Oh
Because that does damage, too.
Oh yeah, that's right. You never rolled your damage.
I know I was afraid to mention that because he would take damage too,
Oh,
so I just
take
kept quiet.
advantage of the DM not used to 5e.
Oh, man.
All right,
Well,
so-
yeah, having not seen Boris during the entire attack and knowing that this thing fell on top of where he was, I'm going to call it to Zelen. It's like, we need to get Boris. He's underneath this thing.
You can see me in front of it.
Never mind. We got it.
Like, we just like locked eyes as the two of you fell into the trench. And I'm like, oh, am I interrupting something?
Well, I was a little bit busy holding onto the wall for dear life.
Oh, and the lizard.
So we're doing retroactive damage from that thunder wave. It did take, and I rolled it myself, 7 points of damage. Jacob, you still killed it. That 7 would have killed it, but you've taken the 7 as well from all that stuff hitting you.
Sorry.
The only damage to the party was from the party. Yeah, seems right.
Friendly fire.
Friendly
Fire happens all the time, right?
I thought about trying to push it in with the fire sphere, but I wasn't.
Thank you for not.
Yeah, that was my fear. I wasn't sure what that would do.
Jacob
Burned
changed his
me.
last name to Flambe.
Yeah, right.
All right. You've killed the thing. It's in the trench. It looks like a convenient grave once they hack out the parts that they want.
Yep.
What do you guys do now? What's the next course of action?
First, lay on hands to get him back up to functional.
All right, so is that just a number or do you roll that?
That's a number.
Okay.
So
7
I
points.
go with that until he feels better. Yeah, and I've got 15 today, so.
Very cool.
So you get your 7 back and you are peachy keen.
I am feeling right as rain, ready to walk back into town and tell the people about the accomplishment.
The
And,
spell is still in effect. Just zip over there.
oh, yeah. I get there 50 feet ahead of them.
So
Hear ye.
they're elated, but they're also a little curious now. Can you still use the trap? There's still maybe 2, 3. We don't know how many more. At least another one out there. Can you still use this trap to bait them in? I can't imagine us dragging that monstrous lizard out of there.
I don't think we can. We might be able to extract it, but even then, with having killed the mother, they might have changed their perspective on this area and be leaving the territory, or might be holing up in a lair.
Well, let me have a moment to concentrate and let me see if there's any more within 5 miles.
See if there are even any.
Yeah.
So I will begin that
Yeah, do your
ritual.
crazy pagan ritual.
And does that give you direction, or is that just distance?
I learned the direction and the distance.
So as you cast that spell, are you doing this as a ritual?
It's a ritual.
So you have 10 minutes. So everyone's talking. Zelen went off by herself, like sitting on a porch somewhere, and there's a lot of celebrating all
Pack and
over the
light my
place.
pipe.
Yeah, and then a bunch of people go down to the trench, and it looks like literally to hack stakes out of this thing. They're not going to let all that go to waste down there either. And then once they do
lizard.
that, and it'll obviously be past the 10 minutes that Zelen's working, they start filling the trench back in around it. But after that 10 minutes, Zelen, you're concentrating, and yes, there is another one, and it is about 4 miles away, and the cardinal direction, it's that away. It's off to your east.
So I share that with Boris and Jacob, but also with the Graves, just in case they have any idea what might be east from here.
There's a ridge that springs up fairly steeply. It's a series of steep ridges. You can certainly cross over it, especially someone with Jacob's experience in woodland. He could find a trail over it. We rarely go there. The hunters would go in those directions, but the last hunter that disappeared went in that very same direction. She was heading that way.
And the direction they're pointing in is around the one where we saw that matted down area, right? Where that one was preparing to ambush.
That's very close to the cleared area.
Okay.
So, but in a general line, yes.
Okay.
So after, like, they bring out food, there's a lot of celebration. They've cut stuff out of it. You can see work crews are out there starting to fill this trench back in again.
Someone's got to use all the cement.
That's right. Yeah, right. They're using the bulldozer and the cement mixer. They're going to make some kind of a little water feature there.
Yeah, does a great big earthenwork mound count as loose objects? Or is that just ground?
Oh, yeah, if you're
Not a serious question, because I don't want to retroactively get buried alive. That would very much suck.
So then once all of that's done, what direction do you take them in?
With the direction that you gave us, we'll start heading that
Heading
way.
east.
Yeah.
And honestly, you probably cast it again once we're done with like the celebratory lunch.
Yeah, ritual. You like even as we're walking, you can take 10 minutes. You don't have to be still while you're doing
Right.
it.
Yeah.
All right. So which do you do before you guys depart as a ritual, or once you?
No, let's get going, and I'll check, say, 20 minutes into the walk and make sure that we're still on the right path.
Yeah.
All right. So
Works for me.
you find a spot. Jacob, go ahead and roll a survival check. As Zelen said, I want to try this again. Make sure that the area seems clear.
25.
Yeah, you are very, very confident that nothing has moved through this area. You don't find any of their particular tracks or bedded down spots right here, so you don't feel there's any of them nearby.
Okay.
And are we still hearing the little sounds of smaller animals? Because that was kind of a telltale for us.
I mean,
when the
getting rid of the
smaller
biggest
animals.
predator in the area, does it seem like the woodlands are starting to return a little bit back to normal?
Yeah, without even any kind of a knowledge nature check or anything like that. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
You're seeing the small creatures you'd expect to see just in woods like this.
Cool. Yeah. No. So,
Okay.
and share that, and then
So
ask you for another idea. If I can get any tracks in this area.
yeah.
Yeah, so you cast your ritual. 10
Yeah.
minutes later, you're concentrating, and you're closer, about 3.5 miles away. And from the line you're on, you're pointing, and you can triangulate. It seems as though it's staying in the same place.
Okay.
That this last one is not roaming or moving. It's in a fixed locale.
Yeah. We
All right.
keep moving.
Yep.
All right, so Jacob, roll another survival check.
That is a 21.
After about 2 miles, 2.5 miles, as you're taking that direction, you realize you've come back to a different stretch of that same road you guys discovered.
Interesting.
It's been out 3 days ago now.
All right. Yeah. And it seems like almost we're walking down this road, or
Yeah, from where you first hit that road, like it was a T intersection, you crossed it, and now you've come back to it, but further east. But the direction that Zelen's pointing in actually would probably mean following the road. You know, it disappears sometimes under fallen trees and, you know, leaves and silt and build up like that. But then if you walk on it even just a little bit, you'll see that stretches of the road appear again. It looks like this road is running right toward those steep ridges the Graves were talking about. And
well, that's really
Yeah,
cool.
this
right
would be
at
a
it.
Convenient
All right,
trail, if nothing else.
Let's get moving now if we want to beat rush hour.
Yeah, but let's pay attention because we know these things are capable of ambush.
Well, I mean,
Right,
but you
yeah.
only sensed one in the area, and it's 3.5 miles away.
Well,
Right.
the nearest is
Yeah.
3.5 miles
So
away.
yeah, so
Yeah,
still
but-
head on a swivel for any other potential.
Exactly. Yeah.
one last point, I'd said that
We might
after you've
bump into
walked for a
bugbears.
couple of miles.
Okay.
So it's only about, well, you didn't, are you casting your spell again when you get to the road as ritual?
No, I think we
Yeah, I think
feel-
we can.
All right,
unless
yeah.
we
Pick up
want
our
to know,
tracks
unless
soon
we want to
enough.
know how close it is.
But you certainly could.
I think that'd be useful, yeah.
Okay, great. So
Since
I'm
it
going to
costs
cast. So
nothing, yeah,
I'll
I
cast
guess.
again.
Right, yeah. So, but again, survival check again, that the area seems clear.
15.
Yeah, you'd say that you feel fairly confident that the area still feels
Okay.
clear. There's the smaller critters in life, and nothing that indicates anything's walked along this particular track.
Yeah, we let our guard down because we're not going to be attacked by one of these giant lizards, and a panther just jumps from the trees.
So
All right,
after
so I
10
cast.
minutes, after 10 minutes, Zelen, 1.5 miles away, she gives you a cardinal direction, Jacob, that away, and you're like, they're just triangulating. This road is leading right to this spot.
All right.
Yeah, let's keep going.
All right, so after another mile, it's quite apparent, despite the tree cover and the foliage overhead, that the ground is beginning to rise, and this road is rising with it. You're heading up higher into the hills, but you can see straight ahead of you, the ridge, Jacob, gets really steep. Again, it would not be a fun hike going up there. You would think that most people couldn't move at a very decent pace to get up there. And it's not looking, happy. You're not feeling happy to have to go up something like that. It means a lot of work and little distance. But then the ground, as it's rising, is not rising as steeply as you would think it would for that ridge. It might actually form what's tantamount to a bluff or an escarpment up ahead of you again. And then you do pick it out. When you get to just maybe a couple thousand feet ahead and you shift yourself back and forth to see, wait, what am I seeing in the ridge? You realize that there is a very large cave opening in the side of this mountain where it gets steep.
All right.
Does it look man-made, or does it look like a natural cave opening?
So
Can we see?
As Jacob's pointing that sort of thing out, do it as a knowledge nature, Zelen, that you're holding it up to your standard of what nature should look like for something like that.
10.
The edges look
wait a minute. Don't I get to add something?
Yeah,
13.
your nature skill.
13.
It looks very uniform, that that like natural caves can form, and they look like symmetrical to a human-made something, or intelligent-made something. This strikes you as being very intelligent-made. It's like an upside-down U. It looks like a man-made opening.
Okay, so I'm going to share that observation with you guys that it definitely looks man-made.
All right. I
Interesting.
have no real capacity to tell one way or the other.
But
I'll take your word for it.
Let's keep going. I mean,
Staying on the road?
Yes.
All right, so you're still leading them on the road, and as you get closer and closer, and there's fewer trees in the way, and you can see it more clearly, when you get to about 1,000 feet out from it, it's fairly clear in front of this opening. The road is leading it right to it, and you start thinking about this thing in a different way, that it's not a cave with a road this size, and the way it is most definitely an arched opening right at where the road meets the mountain. It looks more like a tunnel, like somebody made a tunnel right here.
Okay, that's interesting.
Like, how high is it? A mountain, or or does the tunnel go down, or does it just go like straight in?
It
horizontally?
seems to hold on the level, as far as you can tell, without going into it. The level that the ground is right here, maybe going up slightly.
Oh man.
A little bit of an incline, but it definitely goes right into the hillside. There's embankments on either side where the ground slopes down to meet a lower level, much further behind you, and so this road starts cutting into that embankment, and then it's on a slight angle, the actual face of the tunnel opening. But it's very clear to all of you that there are stones all around this and keystone holding this whole thing in place.
I'm willing to bet it's in there.
Yeah, I
makes sense.
think you're exactly
Any
right.
illumination coming from it, or do we need to bring our own?
There is no illumination coming from it. It looks quite dark.
Are there any bones laying around in front of it? Can we tell, do we recognize any of the townspeople?
That guy that I never met before. That sure looks like his pelvis.
Not on the road itself. But if you're suggesting you guys start making some circular search patterns at different distances from the road,
I'd say we kill the hostile before we start searching through.
What time is it?
Okay.
it would be by this time mid-afternoon, a little past, like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Let's kill it and get out of here, because I don't necessarily want to not have it dead in the middle
Why
of the
don't
night.
we assume kind of our typical marching order? I'll take point, you be in the middle with a torch, and you, Jacob, bring up the rear.
Cool. I'd actually like to produce flame rather than use a torch, because I can throw produce flame and reuse it.
But once you throw that flame, then our light source is gone.
It's definitely dark.
Okay.
How fast can you bring it back?
Immediately.
Yeah, it's a
Instantaneously.
cantrip.
It's
cantrip free action.
It's an action on your turn.
Yeah, I think that it'll be dark until your next turn.
Yeah,
I see. Okay. All right.
All right. So same walking order. Do you want to have both going? Do you want to have a torch and your produce flame?
Yeah, honestly, if you've got the attack ready and you can just hold it for a duration, you might as well.
Yeah.
The torch is just for us to be able to see when it's between one of your turns and the next two.
So Zelen, I'm assuming you then.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have both. I'm gonna have flame in one hand and flame in the other hand.
A torch in the other
one
hand.
just my hand and one the
Don't
torch.
throw the wrong one.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you for that hint.
Cartwheel's like a potato masher. Oh, hey.
And then that way you can light arrows too, if you have any of those burning arrows with you. I
In the
mean,
middle of combat, I'm just like reaching over backwards.
7.
Oh, yeah,
No,
you got 7 of those
she's,
left.
she's in the middle.
Oh no, I'm
Oh,
reaching
7,
over
yeah,
backwards,
7.
lighting the thing, bring it back down and firing.
Cute.
Or as I'm pulling the arrow out, it just lights
So
them. Oh.
approaching it in that Boris, Zelen, Jakob walking order, how much space between you guys? And are you staggered on an angle or moving like straight line going into this thing?
Social distancing standards are still in effect, so I'm going to say 6.
Yeah, and how wide's this tunnel?
The tunnel is about 30 feet wide and about 30 feet tall going right into the mountain.
Big tunnel.
It's an
I'm gonna-
amazing feat of engineering.
I'm going to move to the right of you, so then that way
You've got a clear line in.
Well, and so that you could actually see the torch. Otherwise, you're bigger than me. The light's going to be blocked by you. So I'm going to move slightly to the right,
Yeah,
so that you
and
get a
then
benefit
if you
of
take
some
slightly
light.
to the left, so you also both have a line of fire that doesn't include me in it.
That works.
All right, so
Unless somebody casts Thunderwave again.
you approach it. Boy,
Technically, I missed that one by just being under what you were throwing at me.
so as you're approaching and get right to the mouth of this thing, you're getting both the sensations, the stimuli of rotting leaves, as stuff has been blown into here and rotted, but then also you can tell that air seems to be moving through it, that it's not stagnant itself, that you can, the faint that from however long this thing is, and you can't see a light at the other end like it's just, 50 feet
Sure,
or
yeah.
200 feet. It is so long there's no light coming through it, but you do think that air does circulate, and it would make sense then that if you're at the lower end of that, it might be drafting. As you walk up, Zelen, go ahead and make a perception check.
Just Zelen, or
At this moment, yeah.
okay.
24.
As you walk in off to Boris's right, you're more to that right-hand corner as you step in, and you notice that the stone around this seems to be that same kind of dolomite, but down at the bottom there's a different color stone, and it reminds you of the mile markers that have been along the road at different points. And it looks like this is being set as what will be tantamount to a 0 marker on that right-hand lead corner, like among the stones that flank the outside.
Okay, interesting. So I'm going to share that with my compatriots.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. While she's looking in that direction, I will look in the other.
I'll keep listening for big damn crocodile thing.
That was a survive. What were you having? Perception.
Perception.
Perception. That is a 12.
You know, once she says that, you look over on the left-hand corner in the same location, and it looks like, even though you're at the same end of this tunnel, but it looks like it's their symbol for a 2-mile marker.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
So you're seeing 0 on one end at the same time I'm seeing 2 on the other.
yeah, so
correct.
it's probably a 2-mile tunnel.
Okay.
Right, yeah, that it's, going in different directions.
Interesting.
Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's keep on moving. Take a look at the ground, see if there's any tracks or something that gives
Yeah,
me
go
the
ahead and roll
idea.
that.
Yeah, and
survival.
I'd like to listen to see if I can
Okay.
hear anything moving around.
That is a caves are not my favorite terrain. 15.
Still, you can tell that things have moved through this. The disturbances in the ground itself, it doesn't like deer tracks. You can't get imprints the same way, but you do think all these lizards have come from this thing.
Awesome.
Okay. And I rolled a 14.
On your
Listen.
it's quiet.
Okay. All right. So I don't hear anything moving. I say we move into it.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Boris, do you agree?
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's keep an eye out
making-
Boris,
for...
once you've moved in about 10 feet, you can tell up ahead on the left-hand side, about 30 more feet ahead of you, kind of to the extremes of just the natural
torchlight.
light and the torchlight, that there is an alcove off to the left-hand side. Looks like it's about 10 feet wide.
All right, well, that seems like a potential lair. Let's check it out. I'd hate to have something behind us.
Agreed.
So as you walk up to that, everyone's bristling weapons ready, and you look into that, it's just 10 by 10, a little dead end, but you do see that it looks like there's a door off to the left-hand side of that little cubicle, and there's also the remains of apparatus that do a quick investigation on this as you're looking at the remains of what might have been where timbers attached
20.
to stone. You're pretty sure this was a gating mechanism that you could,
Oh, wow.
like a counterbalance gate, you could
But
raise
it's
and lower.
Rotted and rusted.
But if they made it for some reason out of wood, not a gate that would bring a portcullis down across this, but just something you would think to like stop people, person to person.
as much a social
oh,
gate
interesting.
as an actual barrier.
Like a
Exactly.
toll.
Okay, let's start investigating this.
Old
Side
roads,
passage,
old
yeah.
complexes. This is
Okay.
a weird area.
So-
yeah, right?
Into that 10 by 10, yes, there is a staircase just as wide as about a person's shoulders, even like a person in armor can go up the stair. It only goes up about 5 feet, and then there's a landing up inside there.
Do we hear big lizard breathing sounds?
Nothing obvious, but go ahead and roll your investigation for.
How about I help somebody else?
Is listening perception?
Yes.
8.
We all. Oh wow.
Beats
yeah.
my 5.
I think we all just paused to take a listen. That's a 22.
All right. Thank you, David.
Yeah, I'm glad one of us is paying attention.
Yeah, so Jacob.
David appears in the tunnel. You're
I mean,
welcome, guys.
sorry, Jacob.
Yeah,
Thank you,
I
Jacob.
stuck my ear in the torch. I could only hear me screaming.
just all of you in your own small sounds. So do you walk up those stairs, Boris?
What is he? Okay, it's
Yeah, you didn't hear
small
anything
sound.
else,
Okay. Yeah, might as well.
As you walk up those stairs, you come up into a 15 by 15 foot room that looks as though it still had some like natural detritus bone into it, leaves
Sure.
through it. On the left-hand side, which would be the wall that's the tunnel side, you can see there's actually slits cut into it, but it doesn't look like they're set to be like slits you'd shoot an arrow through, because right below those, there are various stone rods that are sticking out of the side of the stone wall itself.
Weird. Let's investigate this once we've killed the thing.
All right, so you can again see into the tunnel, but you couldn't go through this series of slits there.
So are you just coming back down?
Yeah.
There's only one way out of this area, and that is opposite the wall that would be the adjoining wall to the tunnel itself.
I'll check that doorway out too.
Do we want to try and coax it wherever it may be?
Well, we
out
don't
of
know
its
where
area?
it is. We're
Yeah.
trying to find
So-
it first.
That'd be making more noise, I
Yeah.
guess, if you're going to do that.
All right. So
While
I'm
he's
going.
doing that, I'll make a performance check to see if I can impersonate a deer or some type of an animal that I think would be
Do you
prey
want
for
to
it
bait it
regularly.
when the shield isn't here?
The shield?
Me.
I thought you were just coming back.
I was investigating the other doorway because you mentioned another
Oh,
doorway.
That's the
All right,
only
I'm-
way out of this room, apart from the way you came into it.
I'm going to come up.
But-
I'm going to come up to the room that you're in so that you don't lose light. So that
Okay.
as you go to the next
Yeah,
doorway.
we might as well all
No,
move
when
as a
I asked
party
about making
then.
the sound, I thought I was talking to Boris in the room with me. I didn't.
Nope.
I thought
He's
he
in
was
another
there.
room.
No, okay.
Are you coming with?
Oh yeah, I'm talking to myself
Okay.
in the hallway. I'm not going to stay here by myself.
I'm going to be out here all alone. So this next room that you walk into, Boris, it has what we would probably recognize as a way to set up wine racks. That it's boards on a diagonal that crisscross with each other, and you can stack bottles of wine. Like each one's its own
Okay,
box, and
yeah.
it's on a corner. But they probably wouldn't have stacked wine in this. You've seen this in different places. People put tomes and scrolls or rolled
like
up
a
things and
library.
things like that too. But there's nothing paper. There's nothing written that's actually still here, surviving in here. But it looks like it was some kind of a place to store data. And there is a larger. There's a door off to the right hand side and a larger room, like a gallery room, off to that side too.
Well, that makes sense. This is the next place to check. Let's
Yeah.
keep it moving.
Let's go.
So as you get into that room, you can see and you start to get the idea for how this place is being set up. This gallery room, you would think, you could imagine this being like a commons room where people that are manning whatever the station was would just spend some of their idle time. There's another adjoining room that's a dead end that by the remains of the wooden structures in it, you think it might have been an armory or an equipment storage room. There's a staircase
Gear's
up.
been removed?
Say that louder.
The gear's been removed?
Yes, if there was
Okay.
metal or stone gear in there, it's long since been removed, and
Okay.
anything that was organic's
Yeah.
rotted away. There's a stair that goes up, and you can only imagine that's probably going to head toward barracks and kitchen preparation and storage, something like that. And you could certainly check it out. But there's another hallway that stays at this same level that's running parallel to the main tunnel. It's only 5 feet wide, but running that parallel direction. And there seems to be, again, something different to the air quality as you're
Let's
approaching
check that
that.
one out first.
So as there's no door that's closed, you can tell all the interior doors used to be wooden, and they've long since rotted away. Stone hinges still exist with bolts in them where the wood's fallen away. The tunnel itself is about 30 feet long, and at the far end of it, you open up into another 15 by 15 room, and this has a very peculiar smell, and you would associate it with the smell of those lizards. You think that they've been in this space, this location at one point or another.
Is there anything in the immediate area?
It looks like it might have been an office place that
I mean anything pertinent to what's living here now, not what used to live here.
No, although the place looks like animals have gone through it, there's nothing in here at the moment.
Okay.
There's one door. Actually, there's 2 doors out of this place. One off to the left and one going straight ahead.
Let's check the left first.
Got
So there's no door that's there, but as you open it, it almost strikes you as being what would be tantamount to a tack room.
You said there's no door, but then we opened it.
I'm sorry, as you step through there,
Okay.
where you go through that, sorry, that it would have been reminding you of the pegs on the walls that there's various stands. You would think that they would hold saddles, and another structure you would think for repairing them. But go ahead and make an investigation check, Boris.
I hate that you keep asking me because I've got the worst check
Hey,
for
so far, you're
party.
getting us closer to the.
17.
He's doing a better job tracking than we are.
Yeah, because I'm lucky, not because I've got a good plus.
The saddles would all be the wrong size. There's none that seems to have survived. The leather, the wood form for it, the actual structure that you think it should be to actually mount or put a saddle on to do repair or to make a new one, it's too big. And then against one wall where there's a bunch of pegs there, there's no leather items hanging there. But on the ground next to it, there are the couplers that you would have in a typical bit and bridle. They're all made of stone, and they're way too big. Like all the leather rotted away, and these things just fell to the ground.
Would this saddle area be accessible from the outside, or would you have to go through this maze? As far as we know, in looking around this room, is there a way to get to the outside?
Not that you know of right now. It looks like everything would have had to come up through that narrow little staircase, which it makes sense there's another exit somewhere else.
Okay.
You think that whoever used to live in this place was riding these lizards?
That's what I'm wondering, too.
The thought. But let's find the last one first.
I guess for the third time, my handle animal check was a joke, but
The other door leading out of that like office area that was
Right.
off the tack room that you came into, the door, and there is a door this time, that as you get to it, you realize, oh, wow, there's a door here. You approach it and realize it's a door of stone. And it's been the first door that's been a stone door anywhere in this whole thing.
All right. Listen, then open.
Go ahead
And
and roll the listen.
I'll assist the listen.
Okay.
Well, how about we all listen because my bonus is a plus 2.
what's the mechanism like that the door uses to open?
Interior stone hinges.
I keep
Stonehenge?
complaining about my modifier and I keep rolling high. 17.
Oh, you rolled better than I did.
11.
14.
You are positive it's quiet. There's no sound coming from this thing.
All right, I'll open the door.
As you go to open it, there isn't a catch, a latch, or a doorknob or anything else. Everyone go ahead and make an intelligence check when it comes to a memory. Anything you think would work better than memory.
Natural 20 for a 22.
Boris, this reminds you of the way that stone was constructed when you were at that tower. The stone at the base of that, the arrangement of the
Oh, that's interesting.
The communication of it.
Weird. I share that with the party.
What tower?
The tower that was an invisible tower that had spiders that
the
came
only
out.
tower we've been to?
I'm going
Hey, I thought the
to
wizards lived in a
examine
tower.
the stone door to see if there's any writing on it.
Okay, go ahead.
Insight, maybe? Oh, no, physical.
Investigation if you're
looking for
Investigation.
something.
16.
There is no writing on the door, but the thought does strike you that it was when you and Boris both put your own separate applications of power to it that other things happened at that other place.
Do you want to try touching the door to see if we could reveal anything, or you just want to keep moving?
I'd want to keep moving. This seems like the direction. Let's give it a try.
Okay.
So you're both like
So
putting
we're both
hands on
going
the
to
door.
sure,
touch the
yeah.
door.
Yeah, so with you both like kind of like resonant with your own individual kinds of energy, the door slides inward.
Excellent.
All right.
Neat.
Okay, yeah. Stepping through, what do we see? What do we hear?
Was there like an immediate shift in the air too? Like it hasn't been open in a while?
There's not. Actually, you're getting the same smell from the tunnel that just 5 feet inside where this door opened, there's a 20 by 20, I'm sorry, a 10 by 10 hallway to the right-hand side, and it looks just in sightline like it connects to the main tunnel right here once again.
Oh.
But on the ground all over the place in here are shards of smoky quartz.
Interesting.
Weird.
I'm gonna go investigate the largest shard that I see. See, was it broken? Can I tell? Was it carved?
As you go that, go ahead and roll the investigation itself.
15.
As you pick up a couple of pieces, you note that they're jagged, they splinter along lines you would expect, and there isn't a piece that would be like larger than, let's say, a bowl, like a cereal bowl. But some of the pieces do have like a curve to the inside of them. There's like it was a mold on the inside, and as you're touching it, you can almost imagine it being like that's where an elbow would go. It's like a joint would fit into something, but it would be if a creature was no larger than, say, the size of maybe a medium-sized dog would fit into this space if you could rearrange all these pieces this way.
Huh. So it's almost like, you guys, this is like some kind of case.
Now, as you're looking up, the whole area of this space is about 20 feet wide and about 30 feet long, with this 10 by 10 area like smashed out of it. And as you look up, Zelen, you realize the whole wall on one side, and that's floor to ceiling, side to side, is that kind of same smoky quartz. It's massive.
Wow.
Wow.
Do I see any writing? Do I see any?
There's no writing.
I'm
No,
gonna-
it's like jagged rock.
Oh, I'm going to go over to that large wall and try to take a closer look at that.
As you are looking at that closer with both of your light sources, and the smoky quartz is semi-opaque, you can actually see there are forms about the size of dogs that are held as though in amber inside it. And you can see that these forms look like dog-sized versions of those same lizards. Each 10-foot by 10-foot area seems to have 4 of them in that. And that one area that was like a 10 by 10 recess, that looks like it was more recently broken out.
Bizarre.
So they hatched from here somehow.
Yeah, or contained, at least temporarily.
Can we get an idea from the number of these that have been broken into, how many probably have gotten out?
You would think that there's an area that 4 of these might have been broken in who knows how long ago, but all the stone's been cleared up. It looks like just one section of 10 by 10 has recently been broken, just the volume of stone. You'd say one section, 4 lizards of this size.
And all the spaces seem to be the same size. So it's not like there's a mama lizard and baby lizards. They just grow?
That's correct. Yeah.
And one must have gotten out longer ago.
Right.
Any disturbance in the shards that would indicate a direction something's moved?
It looks like, yeah, they've been drug. The bits of them been drug in the direction of that 10 by 10, or that 10-foot wide hallway that would look to connect to the main hallway itself.
Seems like our next spot to check.
So as you are walking, it's a slight ramp down. So it's accommodating for that 5 feet you guys went up. And as you get down to the bottom of that, you can see across the width of the tunnel that there is another set of doors on the opposite side, the same size as the ones you're exiting right now. The doors to it are stone, and they've both been knocked down, pushed into the hallway, like knocked down from the inside. And from beyond it, you can see there's something moving inside there.
Thank you for listening. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at The Empire's Edge. You can now also listen on YouTube. If you'd like to learn more about the characters and background, go to mattsinkovich.com or theempires.edge.com. You can support the podcast on subscribestar.com/the-empires-edge.